It's Chris. I've been meaning to talk about this one for a while. I'm going to get in trouble for this one. I'm going to tell you right now. This is going to be slightly controversial. And not in quite the way you're thinking of it. But in case the title and the thumbnail aren't going to be indicative enough, right? Like, I absolutely abhor, absolutely drives me crazy, generic quotes about games. Absolutely, it kills me on the inside every time I read one of those. And I put off commenting on that or ranting about that or raving about that for a long time. And so I felt like there was a need to do it now because I just ran across another one that it was like all of the criteria I look at for these generic quotes, it had all of them in the same quote. And I was like, you could substitute any game, slight adjective change here, and you couldn't tell what game was being talked about, right? This is probably why I don't get my quotes on any crowdfunding pages though anyway. But you know, like if I'm going to put a crowdfunding quote nowadays, like if publishers ask me for something, I want to have something unique for them. Like, even if it's something ridiculous, but like something to show that like I'm not just a quote generating, or something to tell you that it's not just them making a quote out of my words, right? That's what I want it to feel like. And for better and for worse, that's, you know, my brand, right? And that's kind of why I'm at where I'm at, right? I kind of rub people the wrong way sometimes with some of that. And others have been, you know, pretty accepting of that as well. So it's just a very interesting line when it comes to that. But let me pull up the quote here in front of me so I can show you. Blank game is a ton of insert random adjective and had terrific insert random adjective, generic description of mechanic to figure out best way to end game scoring, insert here. Published by somebody and designed by somebody else. Not making that up. Well, I am making that up, but that was essentially the quote. And I'm pretty sure someone got paid for that. Right? We talked about it on the money side of things the other week. And the money side of things is incredibly alluring. But I just look at a quote like that and I go, you could insert any game in there, any mechanic, any adjective, and that statement is a lot of what I see, not just on crowdfunding. You know, I pick on crowdfunding all the time, right? But it's spreading to retail. It's spreading to Board Game Geek ads. Go pull up Board Game Geek. I guarantee you'll see one or two of those. Either in the middle of a forum section, on the banner, around the outside, or the top. You'll see some random crap like that. Even Miniature Market has now have those random, like, they're not even like attributed to somebody. They're half the time they're either anonymous or they don't even have an author for the quote. It's just becoming ubiquitous across the board. And it's like, at least Amazon, you go over to Amazon, right? This is a pseudo good example. Stick with me. You know where I'm going with it though. You know, verified purchaser on Amazon reviews, right? Now, that doesn't say if they were, you know, sent it necessarily, or they were in some way compensated for review, because you have like these super reviewers and stuff like that. But at least most of the time you look at those verified purchasers and you feel a little bit better about those. And they give you a little bit more of a descriptive flow, whatever it may be. I don't need pictures, but you know what I'm talking about, right? The ones that are clearly people like writing you this much or this much and telling you why or why not this was good, or why or why not it didn't do what it needed to do or did what it needed to do, right? As opposed to a generic quote that, you know, you could insert any game mechanism here, as opposed to any certain quote that you can't tell which deck builder or which Euro worker placement style game it is, because it's just so cookie cutter, right? And I can't be the only one that is bothered by these. And there are some delightfully wonderful people out there that are not doing this. And at the same time, I think it's just not that I'm picking on or singling out anyone, but I think it's just something that we as people putting our opinions out there need to be a little bit more assertive about. And I am not good at that. Caveat there. Let me rephrase. I am not good at that, especially when I started this channel about being, and even nowadays, I mean, I'd be lying to you if I didn't tell you there's pressure. Like I get a game from a bigger company to, you know, not say something, but to make it a little bit, you know, the corner a little bit smoother, right? Maybe not as jagged in that sense. And that's different than me just not like blasting it and putting it on blast, because there's, as I've said before, ways to critique things without being I was going to say another 5-letter word there, a jerk. You can find a constructive criticism level of stuff. That is what I often find that is missing on things like Reddit. Someone populated a comment on one of my videos from like almost a year and a half to 2 years ago. I compared a bunch of dungeon crawlers. They're like, I fast forwarded through all of it, expecting diagrams and board setups and, you know, all this, a component everywhere. And it was all just you talking. I can't believe you had the gall to do that. Sorry, man. You know, you just can't please people sometimes either. And so there's a fine line, though, with that type of comment and like, hey, man, I really wished that you could have shown me some of this instead of just, you know, talked about it. I'm a visual learner instead of an auditory. Do you think this is something that would be feasible? Or, you know, what do you think about this? You know, there's ways to phrase things like that. Just like there's ways to phrase quotes to make yourself not seem, you know, like I talked about at the beginning. So, I don't know. It's just something I've seen more and more of, especially with the rise of paid content. And again, not singling anyone out here. I'm purposely not singling anyone out because, again, I'll point the finger at me before I'll point the finger at anyone else. I've done it in terms of genericness. But I'm also trying to hold myself to a higher standard. And so I think we as a community as a whole should also hold everyone to the same higher standard to help us, you know, because that's the main reason you watch my video, right? Not because you're like, oh, Chris, he's really entertaining, he's really interesting, right? Like, no, I'm not. But you listen to the videos, you watch the crowdfunding run-ups, you watch the reviews to go, is this right for me? Give me something intuitive, Chris. Give me something insightful to help me figure out whether or not this is for me. Not something witty, not something, you know, catchy, but something that's going to help me figure out whether or not it's for me. That's what I think the most important aspect of this is, and I think it's lost in translation sometimes. Not through, again, through any ill will, but it's just, you know, we get so focused on how I do my things, and sometimes it just doesn't always come out the way it should and to come out the way that it would be most helpful. And so I'm trying to do better on that side of things as well. So, rant video over. I'm running out of things. Running out of topics. Here we go. I don't know. It's a good one, though, I think, hopefully. Tell me if you like it. Tell me what you want to see below. Tell me any other things that grind your gears, and I'll see if I can find a way to grind them too and put it out there. I got nothing else. Patreon below. Peace out. Stay classy. Thanks for watching. It's a spicy one. I love this stuff.